Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise!
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good.
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Sup, Chuddle Club members? What's happened? Welcome to Chuddle the Pod, where horror movie lovers have a feel-good time. We always keep it spoiler-free at the top before we grease down and get greasely and have spoilers greased all around. In this episode, we're going to Chuddle the Greasy Strangler. It's happening. We're doing it.
We did it.
You convinced us.
We, of course, have Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian. Trying new things.
What?
I'm going to try something new.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I figured I'd go very literal for the first one.
Yeah, that's good.
Ross.
Oh, hey, I am not the Greasy Strangler.
Very good. And of course, we are not alone tonight.
No.
We are joined by friend of the show, multiple appearances now, man with the plan, guy who ran 8 miles today. He's a dude. He's a scary author who writes spooky things. Thomas Michael Thomas.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey guys, thank you. I figured a way to open up. I take the Greasy Strangler very seriously. And I have a quote from General Patton. He was an American military general. The quote is, "Wars may be fought with weapons, but they are won by men. It is the spirit of the men who follow and of the man who leads that gains the victory." And that is how I want to go into the Greasy Strangler. I'm taking it
That's amazing.
effing serious. I love you guys. Thanks for having me. Come back again. I love it here.
Always.
You guys are wonderful. I'm
always
so proud
welcome.
of you guys.
Open invitation, more or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, you got an open door policy.
Why don't you tell the people about your books?
I do.
What you're
Sam,
up to.
Before I say that, the
Yes.
Holy Mountain poster behind me. Have any of the three of you seen The Holy Mountain by Alejandro
Absolutely.
Jodorowsky?
I'm sure Ross has. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ross, okay, Ross. Ross, do you hate it or love it?
I absolutely love Holy Mountain.
Okay, cool.
Although Holy Mountain to me is like a once every few years experience. Because I feel like
Well, I was gonna put it on today after the Greasy Strangler, but I was like, you know what?
Double feature.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, but I went for
like that's like opposite ends of the cosmic spectrum. Like, I mean, you start off with Grease and then you get to I'd say go for it, actually.
I feel like the double feature is you watch the Greasy Strangler and then you watch like Dune or something.
Yeah. To dry
Something
I think
it
you'll
out.
just watch it again.
But sir, I'm going to lose my license. I'm sorry about opening up with the patent quote. I blindsided you all there.
Do you have any books?
What do you do? So what do you do?
So I have published my third novel called Dark Witchery Behind Dead Willows. You can get on Amazon. It just peaked number 2 on Saturday. I had an email blast, free advertisement go out. It has done very well. It is in the second month of me promoting it. I went up to Pittsburgh to the Monroeville Mall, to the legendary Monroeville Mall where Dawn of the Dead was filmed. When I was there, I had an absolute blast. It's a beautiful convention. I think actually the Living Dead Museum is keeping the mall alive for a Living Dead convention is keeping them all alive as malls are dying.
How about that?
It scares me because in Dawn of the Dead, the spirit of the movie was these zombies have nowhere else to go, so they just continue just to go to the mall, and people don't go there anymore. People just buy stuff off their phone or phones to, I don't know, but
except for that mall by your work, people go there a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty big mall. But the book is doing very well. I have a couple conventions coming up. You can go check it out if you want to see where I'm going. www.thomasmichaelthomas.com. You could follow me on Instagram. I posted there a lot as my Instagram handle is Della Morte Della Gore, kind of like the movie Della Morte Della More, but you just put a G in the M at the end. And and that's all I got to say. Unless you guys have any questions, I'm having a blast watching horror movies still. I love your podcast. You guys are wonderful. You guys are beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You're beautiful. Thanks for being
Oh,
here.
jokes.
Ooh.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Let's continue, shall we? But before we continue, we actually must take this moment to thank our covenant patrons.
Ooh, nice. That was a nice, like, little quick stop.
Hey, let's
Your
continue.
sacri-
But before we continue, sorry, I love you.
I thank you. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls. Patrons get bonus episodes where we cover non-horror movies. We do mailbags, creepypastas, gnarly histories, and shuttle battles where we pin villains from movies we've covered against each other. And actually, Brian and I are launching an X-Files series soon as well for the patrons.
Yep,
Episode
that's
by
coming.
episode,
I know we
baby.
keep saying it's coming, but we're like building it up so that
Coming,
Yeah.
coming. It's
we can
coming.
release
coming.
more than, yeah. But it is coming.
It's coming.
And speaking of coming, let's get going. With all club members present and accounted for and the covenant avowed, it's time to crack open the goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Let's do some lines.
God damn.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, starting with the log line. Ronnie runs a disco walking tour with his son Braden. When a sexy woman takes the tour, it begins a competition between father and son for her love. It also signals the arrival of an oily strangler who stalks the streets at night. That's pretty close. That was IMDb. It seemed like the Greasy Strangler was already around. But other than that, accurate.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, correct. But yeah. Good enough. What's the tagline
All
for this
right.
bad boy?
There are no taglines.
Oh, no.
Really?
At least not on the main
No.
poster or on IMDb. I
Sure.
gotta look at alternate posters to try and find one.
Do you know that there used to be a Twitter page that had a group of people that it was based, or there's somebody in England started it. It was a Greasy Strangler fan page, and we would tag. Well, I was part of it. There was 11 of us. We would tag people. Say if
amazing.
somebody like along the lines of, I think one of them was not Timberlake. What's the other guy? Justin Bieber. He was like, hey, anybody know any good movies to watch? And we'd be like, how about the Greasy Strangler? And they wouldn't respond, but we would tag that in the group. Sky Elabar, who plays Big Braden, was part of that group as well. And then I don't know what happened to my Twitter account. I think I just made it an author account. I don't know if I belong to that anymore. Anyway, I just want to throw that in there.
I asked our old friend ChatGPT to write a tagline for us.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Grease up and prepare for the strangest ride of your life.
Is that so?
Honestly,
you mean a
that would
robot?
work.
A ChatGPT is a robot?
A robot
wrote
wrote that.
The
A
robot
wrote that.
The robot may like
An oiled up robot, a greased up, oiled
So
up
greased up
robot. wrote
robot.
this.
Do you think the robot liked the Greasy Strangler as much as Sam
Oh,
did?
I could ask it. But continue on, Sam.
We'll save it for ratings.
We'll ask ChatGPT what it's rated.
Movies are made by people, and the people that made this movie is directed by Jim Hosking. It was written by Jim Hosking and Toby Harvard.
Mm.
The movie stars Michael St. Michaels as Big Ronnie, Sky Elabar as Big Braden, Elizabeth DeRazzo as Janet. That's pretty much it. We'll throw in Gil Gex as Big Paul. There are other cast members, but that's our main core, really.
Core 3, 4. Is that the core?
Core 3 plus 1.
not to push the story ahead, but if the one secondary character, Oinker, had a stronger role, do you think they could have done more with that character and maybe possibly a Greasy 2 looking at you?
See two looking at you.
Yeah. I think about this film a lot. That's why I'm glad you brought me on. Like what
I do honestly have some
I gave
questions.
you a list of options. You pick this one.
Oh yeah.
I am curious about Oinker. I'm glad that we can have a dialogue later on this episode just about Oinker.
We'll get to Oinker.
I have no thoughts on Oinker.
I have
Okay.
notes.
I have notes too. I don't have any more quotes from General Patton though.
That's a shame.
I have.
Can you get one? Can you
That's
can
unfortunate.
you get a patent quote to end us on?
I
please?
might end on a Mike Patton quote. That's where I'm going to go. I'll go absurd.
Oh,
I'll just go
okay.
and say-
Okay.
I'll start
Yeah,
off
there
with
you go.
General Patton.
I just said
close
I
with
did
Mike
say
Patton.
patent, so
You did say
great.
Patton. I'll have them by the end of the
Patent pending.
Patton.
All right, well, you know what time it is?
Fatality.
Were you about to answer what time it was?
No.
It's tool
I thought
time.
it was still
I'm
going to
ad-libbing.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this movie? Consistency, intensity, 1 through 5, put them together, get your thing. Brian? He doesn't know. He shrugged his shoulders with big eyes. He doesn't.
I don't know.
I forgot that I
I'm
was
doing
in.
1.5 each for 3.
Okay.
I think consistency is going to have a 2 for me. I feel like intensity is going to be knocking closer to I can't give it such a low number because when we have like eyes popping out, we've got cannibalism, we've got, there's some pretty gross out things that happen. We got fingers and not normal sinus cavity areas. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to maybe the intensity, maybe like a 3. So I'll give it this a 5, maybe a 5 to a 5.5.
Out of 10?
Yes.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll agree with what Sam said. For the life of me, I have such, I don't know, gore, like Sam's zombie blindness. I have such blindness to anything that I think
Now,
gore-wise in this film. So
yeah.
it did not feel like anything. I can't remember it that well.
But I can understand that because
cartoonish.
I was going to say this literally the gore feels like a live action Tex Avery shit. Like it's not logical gore. This is like you're in a cartoon. Like this whole movie made me feel like I was watching a live action Crumb comic, basically.
That's pretty good.
Michael, you got any thoughts on the gore?
I've been on a John Waters kick, and sometimes when I relax, I like to eat when I watch a movie, and
Okay.
sometimes those worlds don't match. So like when I watch like something like more palatable, like the movie Mother or like Holy Mountain or something like that. Usually you want to like, I don't know, you don't
Bagel
want to eat,
bites?
you don't want to eat soup. You don't want to eat noodle. You don't want to eat anything that does like, I'm gonna do this in my Chico. You don't want to eat anything that makes those noises because usually those are the same noises happening in the movie that aren't food.
Yeah.
So you don't want to match those worlds together. I didn't.
No beat.
So
No
the
beat.
gore
No.
score.
So
The
it's
gore
a-
score.
no
the
beat
gore
balls?
score. I'm gonna put it at a 7 out of 10 because not only did they eat eyeballs once, they ate eyeballs twice.
Yeah.
The gore is not related to how many times you saw a phallus in the film because there were a lot of those. That's not gore. But they did eat eyeballs twice, and I don't know.
3 times actually.
Did they?
Yes. We got 3 separate. Yeah. So we've got. We'll
Was
get
it-
into it.
Was it the guy that got pulled out of the
we've
trailer in the
gotten
back?
entirely too much into the details during the gore meter.
7. 7's my vote. 7.5. I changed it. 7.5 is my vote.
7.5
Yes.
for Thomas Michael Thomas with the chicken noodle soup and other things.
I want to have chicken noodle soup and watch Mother.
That's the next part.
Who is the horror forward?
Sam's gone.
Okay, start with the subgenres. What subgenres does it fall into?
So
Absurd horror comedy. I mean,
Yes.
absurdist comedy with dashes of horror.
Sure.
Technically, it's a slasher.
Yeah. Strangler, yeah. Greasy Slasher doesn't sound right. Maybe that's the sequel.
Maybe. Ooh.
You hear that?
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
how else would you guys describe it? One of those real quirky.
did you guys think at all for like a second that when when Big Ronnie was playing the Greasy Strangler, that the director was trying to maybe make us think that we didn't know that Big Ronnie was actually the Greasy Strangler? Like when he came barreling out and he destroyed
Maybe
those
the
guys.
first time we saw him.
Okay,
Yeah.
But when he went
just
to the
wanna-
car, when he went
What
to the car
subgenre
wash,
is that? Surprising subgenre.
surprising. Brian, do you just want to hit the highway now?
well, Well, General Patton once said, a pound of sweat. It's a slasher. I think the answer you're looking for is it's a slasher.
What's the best environment to watch this in?
Group. I would say
not
group.
Not eating.
With people
at a restaurant
who enjoy this type of thing. It would probably be the best way to do it. Certainly, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I can't imagine really enjoying it too much in any environment.
My wife liked the movie. She thought it was great. We were quoting it around the house multiple times. Like, scenes like the Porto
My
scene.
wife would be very mad at me if I showed this to her.
My wife and I also watched this, and we have been quoting it throughout the house for the past few days.
Porto is a good scene to quote.
It's okay. I will get into that because I have a very big theory about that. But I feel like a group, honestly, because I feel like an individual watch of this movie, like you're going to get something out of it. But I feel like it's made because of how ridiculous it is in certain aspects. Like it has the group mentality of that. I feel like one person's going to start laughing, which will cause a bunch of people to start laughing. I don't know. I feel like a group environment would probably do this movie a lot more justice than by yourself.
When I watch it today, when Big Ronnie came in as the detective and he had the accent and he had the nails.
We're going to talk about all
I know, but that was the hardest I laughed, I think, this entire year by myself. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can
Do you think General Patton laughed at the top of the army tank when he was yelling out orders?
Nah.
Probably not.
That dude never laughed.
He would if he saw the Greasy Strangler.
Probably. He's probably yelling for more grease. Should you know, wait, where are we? Is it for beginners?
It can be, but it's so...
It's
so
so
on the
barely a horror
fringes.
movie. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
And should you know anything about it before you go into it?
Nothing. Zero. Just go right into it.
Yeah, I think so.
Just start off running a marathon.
I think you should know what you're getting into.
Yeah, don't even warm up. Don't even stretch out. Just go right for the marathon.
I think you should know. That might have.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that does make sense because I usually will gauge something by a little bit of like a trailer for the film and then go see it. So like by the trailer, I knew this was going to be absurdist. But if you go in completely blind, I can understand having a viscerally negative reaction if you were,
especially if you're expecting some level of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not in they're similar in wackiness, but my friend years and years ago, 20 years ago, in fact, picked me up one time and brought me to the movie theater to see Napoleon Dynamite, totally blind. He goes, I don't want you to know anything about it. Just walk in the theater together. You're going to love it. And we did. I feel the same way about this.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I was going to bring up Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because they don't repeat the same thing over and over throughout the movie. It'd be like, all he said was damn it, Tina, like for 5 minutes.
They don't really, they eat eyeballs more than they repeat stuff.
There's some weird eatings of things
artists.
in Napoleon Dynamite. They eat weird stuff when they're on the chicken farm.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's that for you.
Fat. Chuddle hard binger doom. Mothman's flying in with trigger warnings.
Out the window.
Yeah. If this movie could be dangerous for you if you have high cholesterol, there's a lot of grease.
Yeah, if you're grossed out by food stuff or naked people.
Full frontal cartoon-esque level of genitals. If that triggers you, then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's not so bad in that department. All right, let's go ahead and buckle up and grease up.
Spoiler zone.
When we talk about spoilers, start with the IMDb behind the scenes. According to the first one, Michael St. Michael's was John Travolta's hairdresser. I call bullshit on that.
I think it's real.
Here's the next one. All male genitalia seen in the film are prosthetics.
I don't believe that either.
I do believe that.
And I call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
We had a legitimate conversation about the genitals while watching this. Where it's like, do you think those are prosthetics? I was like, those are definitely prosthetics. And then she was like, she goes, are you sure about that? I was like,
yes.
100%.
Yes.
The grease that they used was tapioca pudding.
Oh.
This one, the first cut was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and they edited out 45 minutes of the movie.
That's terrible. I can't wait for the director's
Can
cut.
you fucking imagine?
The grease cut.
I could not. I
long for the day
I don't.
for this director's cut.
Well, it's not a director's cut. They edited it down.
Jim Hoskins, if you're listening,
you know,
please release that full feature.
Give us the full grease.
Yeah.
Yes.
The house was actually every bit this is so fucking dumb. I had to include it. The house was actually every bit as disgusting and smelly as it looks. That's the bit of trivia.
Okay. All right.
But it's not even from a quote or anything. But it's strange. Michael St. Michaels thinks the shot of him mooning the tourist is held too long. Yeah, a lot of this movie is.
Hold on. Sorry. What specific? That's it.
Too far.
That was too far.
Probably said at a con or on a podcast or something.
Right.
You know, Sky Alabar gained roughly 15 pounds for the role.
Oh.
Ronnie's member beneath the sheets is actually a broken pool cue. He spends the rest of the film saying the bulges are all him. Many of the scenes in the final cut of the film were shorter versions of existing scenes. One example is the bullshit artist scene, which originally ran much longer than the final scene shown in the film.
Wait, was that the 45 minutes cut? Was just the bullshit scene?
I think all the, you know how all the scenes are just repetitive jokes? It sounds like the 45 minutes was all just extended versions of those.
Wow.
That's just pure art. I don't know why they cut that.
Because most movies shouldn't be more than an hour and a half, and this one already feels like it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
You're the same guy who watched Martyrs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
What is that?
Well, because that was an hour and a half long.
To do with it.
Anyway.
Right. It also felt long. Actually, Martyrs is much quicker paced. Bullshit artist, another example is scene the hot dog vendor dies, which was originally filmed as a much longer scene. One notable scene cut from the film, much to the dismay of Sky Alabar, was a long shot of him and Michael St. Michaels holding hands, starting off in the distance and running down the street naked toward the camera.
All right. Well, maybe that should have gone.
End of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Who picked it? Why in history? All right, let's get to this. This was a patron suggested movie. I think maybe all our patrons, for all I know, like this movie. Certainly a bunch of them do.
I love
our Discord does.
Mm-hmm.
Nightclub Podcast does. We do too. Nightclub Podcast did an episode on this that's probably, much more in favor of the movie. If you want to listen to that.
The gentleman I did a podcast with this year, Brandon Legion, that horror wolf guy. I think you guys follow each other.
Mm-hmm.
He had Sky on. And Sky's really like down to earth and like just he's just really calm and gentle human. Talked about the movie, but
sure,
yeah. Anyway, yeah, just throwing.
Well,
that in there.
sorry, Sky, because I don't like it.
In our little podcast world.
You wanted me to feel bad? I'm sorry.
It's just not for me. And if you are listening, you probably know that this movie isn't for everybody. All right.
Did we see the same movie?
God damn it, Michael. That's how we got here. It was suggested, it's been the talk of really multiple Discords at this point. Yeah. Everybody's into it. Seems like, except for us, even our guest likes it. So here we are. Do you guys have much of it? Oh, so my history, really, my sister told me to watch this probably in like 2018, maybe. And I watched the trailer and was like, oof, that is not for me. I never watched it. And then recently it's caught fire in my circles. And now here we are.
I had originally, I think I originally caught this when it first came out. And I had the same reaction that I had when I was rewatching it for the podcast. I was like, man, this may be like an underground hitter for me if you had introduced this to me when I was like 20 years old.
Sure.
Like, I feel that this would have probably hit way different being a lot younger, especially since I was in like the trauma head phase of my movie watching at that point, where I was just like watching a lot of underground low budget cinema. And I feel like this would have gone like
Party.
Yes. Like this would have gone hand in hand with like those movies that I was watching at the time.
Sure. No, I think I agree with you. Like if I maybe had seen this when I was at like the height of my Tim and Eric phase and all that kind of stuff, which I still like and I still appreciate. And I think the reason I like Tim and Eric so much is that they have a lot of similar sketches to this, but then there's variation upon that, and it changes and moves on to different characters and different things of that. And it like, the problem with me is that we live in this world for too long. I think it could have worked better and funnier if it was like smaller segments within a Tim and Eric show or something like that.
I had the exact same thought in my head where it's like, I think because of this kind of humor, you're so primed, or at least we're conditioned at a certain point, is that like, this is like Adult Swim era, like post-college kind of like humor to me. And all of that has been digestible at most 25 minutes at a time. So when you have an entire full-length feature film, I feel like, I don't know, if this was as short as Treevenge or maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes, I honestly feel I would feel probably vastly different than a full-length feature film. You know what I mean?
I don't think Sam would like it.
No,
still,
I mean, I never liked Tim and Eric, so...
Right. But Ross and I went and saw Tim and Eric live.
I remember moving in with you guys. And
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Tim and Eric.
This is kind of in vein of the conversation. Remember, well, I mean, you could just look at Andy Kaufman's career, but when you saw Man on the Moon, you saw like they really did a great job. I don't know, I can't remember who directed Man on the Moon, but Man on the Moon is obviously starring Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman. I've always loved absurdism. I've always loved him, and I learned more about his character, but I understand that you could push it too far in some areas, and sometimes it leaves even fans scratching their heads, but I don't know. I think when I saw this, it was like 17, and the world went crazy, and MAGA became a thing, and just people just.
It was in 2017. He wasn't 17. He was 48.
What are you talking about? Did you just make a joke there?
Yeah. You said it was 17.
2017.
It sounded like you were saying you were 17.
No, I'm sorry. No, it's like
2017. You were 48 at the time.
2017 when this came out. So like the world was getting like super serious, and people were getting uptight, and seeing something so absurd, I don't know, it just like was like a dam opened, and I just was laughing uncontrollably, watching it by myself. Then my wife came in and she watched, and she was laughing her ass off, and it just, I don't know, it just worked. And I understand
I'm surprised you did. This would have been when we were together a lot, right? Were you still on the road then?
I was just done traveling, and I was traveling a lot, and then 16 is when I got married. And then 17, I was just like sitting at the house and just collecting my thoughts and just decompressing from just years and years of being on the road. And I was just laughing at ridiculous shit. And this movie just hit right with me. And I don't know, it hit all the buttons. And it's weird. Sometimes even if you break it down, especially in like the first third of the movie, all the beats of everything where a normal conversation should go in these movies is cued by some sort of ridiculousness of the music. And it just, I don't know. I think it's edited very well, especially with the music playing a character on its own.
Yes.
The music is also very repetitive. Until the end, it starts to mix it up, but it's like ding 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 ding. Like I'm just kind of like playing it with my fingers as it happens every time. A weird influence, it's probably not even an influence, but it's just something that I felt like I kind of picked up in the movie was aesthetically some of the times it reminded me of Wes Anderson.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Which was like not an influence I expected in this. And who knows even if it was, but it's just, I can't hear you, right, Brian?
I feel like I could say that as well about watching something like Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, sure.
Wes Anderson influence.
Yeah.
So that like maybe that's whatever that style that you want to call it.
Flat static, like wide shot, and they're just using making. I don't want to say
a lot of monotone colors.
I don't want to say Kubrick-esque, but where the background and the alleyway and everything just becomes part of a character of the film.
Oh, totally. I mean, especially use of color. I was actually commenting on it with my wife when we were watching it. Is that like every character has these distinct color palettes that they go through, which is a super kind of like Wes
Yeah.
Anderson kind of vibe, where it's like they're just like, and sometimes even intentional clashing colors,
Yeah.
sitting at the same table and stuff like that, which is very like
Yeah.
eye jarring, but like in kind of an interesting way. You know what I mean? Honestly, it makes me feel like I'm watching a living cartoon, but like more of like, I don't know, like 70s crumb-esque
Would you
type
even
stuff.
say,
So like part of that aesthetic,
like Bava-esque, like Mario Bava-esque with like 70s like acid influence.
yeah. I mean, especially so like the solid color wardrobe, I would for sure kind of like lean a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily like plot wise or, you know what I mean? Like maybe some of the visual aesthetics. But
No, I would not. Let's talk about this movie.
No.
Do it, Sam. Kick us
Do it,
off. Let's
Sam.
go. Let's go.
We open. An adult
We
son
do.
brings his dad coffee in bed. They talk about how the coffee needs grease, and the dad may or may not be the Greasy Strangler, and he's a bullshit artist. Now in pink matching outfits, the two are giving a disco tour when they argue with the customers about free drinks until the dad moons them and they all leave but one. And it's a girl, and Braden, the son, flirts with her.
My favorite gag in this moment was one that happened. It was at the end of an extended part. I guess he didn't want his butt hanging out as long, but it's when he goes, "Would you stop flirting with her and help your old man like pull up his
my
pants or
pants."
whatever like that?" I was like, that
was-
gave me a
that's
chuckle.
pretty good.
And then we cut to a new scene. I was like, great.
Also, like, okay, so this movie astronomically plays on the fact of everything is too long, as in like Ronnie's dick's too long. The mooning scene in this fucking movie, like in this beginning scene, is like everything feels like it's shot at least 30 seconds to a minute more than what it should be.
There was a scene.
Every
Because it
single time.
was.
Like,
They
I'm talking
cut it
like-
all out.
But it is. And this is what they trimmed, but it's like it creates this. And I think I talked about just like I think it was on our questionnaire thing for Patreon, like natural fears, like awkwardness I don't like, and like certain kinds of awkwardness I'm fine with, and like this one actually started getting me through like peaks and valleys of anxiety just because of how fucking long these goddamn shots were, where I'm like it's almost to the point where I felt like the actors were almost like on the precipice of breaking character and being like, okay, are we done?
Did we
Can
call
do
cut?
Okay, no.
There was
Did we? Yes.
Did I not hear it?
But like, but that's like the movie. You know what I mean? So even this beginning prime scene, you have like this insanely overlong thing about free drinks, and then even the mooning scene is like, oh, he showed his butt,
Mhm.
and then like I'm in my head going 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4. And you're just like, oh my god, this is going on way too long. And then I don't like how they double down on it, where they pan back to him and he still has his pants on. He's like, pull my pants up.
Like I said, I think like I would have like thought a lot of that was really funny and worked really well. Again, if it was just trimmed up and put into smaller, more digestible
So you mean
segments, all Adult
not
Swim.
once any of the three of you guys stood up in when you watched this movie and clapped at the screen and said, "Finally, this is good cinema." And I did that twice today.
I don't think I
did that
quite got
twice today.
there.
I
don't. Interesting.
I audibly groaned, but not out of any kind of form of pleasure.
I
mean,
stopped
there was this
watching
kind of
a
that,
few
like-
times, both
There's-
times that I watched it.
There's long stretches of it. I was just like looking at the screen, like I wasn't like emoting anything. I think.
I know the following year at the Academy's, Spotlight and La La Land were in contention for the alleged best picture. I don't know which one won. I think Spotlight actually won. I think The Greasy Strangler was robbed. I'm just being honest with you. At the they snubbed it. They totally snubbed this.
I mean, at least for effects. I don't know what was up for the effects that year, but a grown man.
No, he's saying they should have won
naked, covered
best
in tattoo
picture,
footage.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
best picture
Yeah.
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, man. This is it, the big
Yeah.
one.
Wasn't saying
Greasy.
Spotlight won best effects. Maybe it did.
If you could go back in
Oh.
time, is that what
Yeah.
you would
Me?
change? Is that the one thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the time machine, you could go back and change one thing in history, it'd be this.
Yeah, I want to.
To make
I'm
the
gonna
Greasy
reach out
Strangler
to
win the
Jim
Oscar
Hoskins after this
in
and
2017.
Want to go in as a producer for Greasy 2. Looking at you.
Ooh,
Yeah.
full throttle. All right.
The Greasy
I
slasher.
mean, I'll watch it if it comes out. I'll watch Greasy 2 with you. We'll send them some Chuddle merch. They'll grease it up.
If we do a podcast for it, I'll watch it.
Weird.
All right. Now they're in the underwear, and Brayden makes his dad greasy sausages, but they're not greasy enough. And they argue about the grease, and Brayden likes Janet, who is the girl from the tour. Then we get the Porto scene. Then the dad covered in grease comes out and attacks them.
What are they made of?
Porto.
Wait. I'm sorry. What was that?
Porto.
Sam, you knew it was going to happen. See, the problem, I genuinely chuckled at some moments during this scene, but then I couldn't anymore. Like the first time I saw it, because it was still so early on, I was like, okay, some of these things are going a little bit long, but I can get down with this.
But not this scene. This scene,
point.
There could have been more to this scene of just going back and forth.
Sure. I'm sure everyone else in our Discord agrees as well. And I mean, that's awesome. I love that it hits so hard for all of you people.
What do you mean, you people?
You beautiful people. you
greasers. And Sam has talked about this, and we've talked about this in the beginning of this episode, is that, okay, so like in classic, I don't know, catch lines, like Wolfman's Got Nards, or just anything you could possibly think of for like...
We're going to need a bigger
that
boat.
kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's these iconic moments that like this movie does this weird...
Boat for Pedro.
Exactly. It's those kind of nods. And they're one-liners. And I feel like this movie, by proxy, I feel so many people quote Greasy Strangler, not because of these iconic moments, is that it's literally like...
full of repeated catchphrases.
It's like Miss Rachel for horror. Like, I feel like you're repeating the same thing 18 times and then looking at the audience going, uh-huh. And then you move on to the next thing. Where it's like, I was quoting... fucking Bullshit Artist and a bunch of other shit in my house right after watching it, not because I wanted to, it was that it was presented to me for 25 minutes repetitively. Like it's like an earwig, you know what I mean? Like, and this one I played this at dinner like right before recording tonight, you know what I mean? Where it's like this scene where it's just
for your kids.
Yes, actually, which was hilarious. Right before
the Porto scene. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. BT Dubs, my 4-year-old was laughing hysterically the entire time.
I would get along with your 4-year-old then.
Yeah.
You should bring him on the pod.
So that happens. Dad comes out covered in grease, attacks them. He pinches one of their faces in like a cartoon. So one of the things I like about this movie is the kills, how cartoonish they are.
Yes.
I wish they did more of this realism. They play with it some, and I like those moments in the movie. I wish it did more of that. Because when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to have more fun with this than I thought. Because that was the first thing that made me smile in the movie.
I also do admire that in some of the like these kind of weird absurdist movies is that you have like the main characters where it's like you've got the father and son that are the weirdos and then everyone else is normal. And I do feel in Greasy Strangler, this is just the ecosystem you're in, as in everybody's a fucking weirdo and they're all awkward and strange. And I honestly really admired that from the movie because it created this like, I don't know. I felt like it's like what's live action Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, you're watching something and it's not like these absurd characters in the real world. We're just watching live action cartoons.
Well said.
Something that to me,
he then goes. Yeah,
I was going to say the big thing to me that I felt like while watching these is all these characters felt like they were speaking like children.
If a group of 15-year-olds made a movie, not even I'm talking about like young kids, like just like the characterization of like young kids or something and how they would talk to each other in some like absurd conversation that you might overhear or so, I don't know, but something about it felt very weird in that way. I don't know.
Well,
I felt Sky Elabar's soft voice sometimes reminded me a lot of Will Ferrell's soft voice. I kept hearing like Will Ferrell in it.
I could see that. Brian, to counter what you're saying, I screenshot a piece of dialogue from the Greasy Strangler that I thought had a lot of heart, and it kind of reminded me of that one scene at the end of I think it was Beaches, where
Hamlet?
No, Beaches. I think when the two young ladies were looking at
Patton?
it wasn't Patton.
Yeah.
It was Beaches, where the young ladies were staring off at the ocean, and obviously one of the characters
At the beaches.
yeah, one of the characters that
Yeah.
passed away. Spoiler if you haven't seen Beaches. But Big Braden says, and this is serious though, just so you know, referring to his father, he tried to impress me with a loud fart once. He put his legs behind his head and he shouted, "Someone's cutting the cheese." Instead of just gas, a big glob of turd flew out of his butt like a rocket. It did a loop-de-loop near the wall and landed on the bed. So if anyone's a bed crap around here, it's him. So
Yeah, very good.
and that's like
just as funny as when I heard it in the movie.
But that seems like something like a child would say about that. That's like the way a kid would tell a
I
story.
looked back at the screen, and all three is are looking at me with a straight face. Nothing. When was the last time you enjoyed a movie? Anyone? Has anybody here enjoyed a movie? Thank you, Ross. For laughing.
No, this is.
I was watching Eczema today. That was fun.
It's
not fun, but that was good. I enjoyed it.
You didn't even laugh in that delivery. I set it up like it was something serious. Threw gold.
Well, because it's not a joke.
A gold
it's just
coin on the floor.
being like, hey, poop, poopy, poop, poop.
Sam
Like,
usually
I get
loves
that all
poopy
day
poop
from my
poop.
son.
But yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that kind of like, and this also like the way they do the bullshit artist thing is like almost like, nuh-uh, you. That's how like
Mm-hmm.
that
Do you
way
think there's
that interaction
similarities
felt.
between this and Pee Wee Herman, like Pee Wee, the first one, the Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, I know you are, but what am I?
Right.
It's that stuff. It's very
Yeah.
adult. It also reminds me. It's like the moment in like a Family Guy thing where Peter falls and he does
Yeah.
that
There you go.
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
remember the first time that happened. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. That was amazing. And then
Right.
like
And then it
the
got
rest
so
of the episode
overdone and it was so fucking
continued,
sick
but
of it.
like even within that episode, other stuff
yeah,
was
yeah.
happening, and like
Right,
continued
exactly.
on, and that's where
Look.
this is just like I don't know. It fails me. It needs
I
to,
heard they admitted later on that the one where Peter fell and he held his shin was just filler because I guess they ran out of material for that certain episode.
Oh, they just needed like an extra 10 seconds for the
or
episode.
something.
That's even
yeah.
more brilliant.
It's funny.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Then, so Ronnie, all greased up, goes to the car wash, gets the stiff brushes. He's called Big Ronnie by a blind man, and he walks around naked. Oh, he gets it blown,
I will have to say,
Yes.
every single time he goes through the fucking car wash, I did laugh out loud. Like,
You
I
like
think
this movie, Ross. You are,
there's part of me that there's part of me that
you
absolutely
like
loves this movie.
Yeah.
But no, it's just the screaming.
I'm
I don't know why.
indifferent.
It's
Everything that comes
I'm
up.
indifferent.
That was funny. I really like that.
that's very good. Dude, okay, listen, fucking like just turd humor is hilarious to me, no matter how you cut it. But no, just every cutscene of this guy just screaming, covered in grease, getting hit by a car wash, and then just going through. I don't know.
I'm betting
it happens 20 times in the movie, but I
that
laughed
wasn't
every
all
time.
one take, and he just cut, and Jim Hoskin just cut those scenes. I'm betting they just kept on redoing that scene over.
Oh,
and over.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
So he does that. We meet Paul. He tips Paul in what I thought was fake money the first time I watched it that he pulls out of his ass. I think that's the currency in that
That's
world
the
because he
currency.
also
Oh.
plays
That's
the
surreal.
hot dog guy
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes.
in that.
I didn't even think of that. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, maybe more of that, or like the fact that was the money in that world, I liked.
Yes.
And does he pull the money out of his ass to give it to him?
He pulls it out of his ass, yeah.
Nowhere else to pull it out
He
of.
puts on clothes, says bye to Big Paul, tells Big Paul Braden shits all over the house before he leaves. Braden brings Dad coffee again. They argue about Janet again. Braden makes his dad greasy food again. They do the disco tour again. You guys got anything to say?
It's moving along well for me. Yeah.
Janet
come on.
shows up when it's over because Braden is taking her to dinner. His dad likes Janet and pictures her naked as she walks away.
Kudos to the
Just
actress
slow
for,
walk
for
with the dog.
kudos to the actress for dedicating herself to that role.
She sure does.
Yes.
Janet and Braden are on a date. We learn Braden's mom left him and his dad for a guy named Ricky Prickles. Then we get the hot dog cart scene. We see more fake money, so maybe it's real money in this world. Sorry, I forgot to delete that note. Braden and Janet
I can lose
are
my license.
in his bedroom now. He tells her about. Yeah, sorry. Did you want to talk about the hot dog cart scene?
I thought it was a high point of acting in the film with the hot dog cart guy. I was really I enjoyed it very much because it was his delivery was so good at the character he was trying to be that well, I laughed a lot and I felt, well, I don't want to do a spoiler, but what had happened to him eventually, I was very sad for him because I liked his character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's coming up.
I think it's the beginning. I think it's the beginning of a few different kind of gross out scenes, I guess is the best way of putting that. Because like for at this point, we've had him kind of like cooking grease and certain things like that on top of like ready-made food.
I thought that was all pretty gross.
Oh no, it is. No, it's its own level of gross. But what I'm saying is that now they've escalated it where like he pulls that fucking lid of that, I'm assuming just lard bucket, and he just dips the whole fucking thing in it. And then that when I was like, oh god,
do you think
knowing that it's tapioca pudding makes it a lot more not appealing? It makes it a lot less disgusting.
No,
yeah, right.
Do you think there's an underlying thing here with Big Ronnie wanting grease so much and then being the Greasy Strangler? Like, what is the Greasy Strangler? Like, why does he need so much grease? Does it feed this monster? What feeds the monster? Is it kind of like digging deeper?
This movie's too absurd to try and
think about Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and I think sometimes there's Hitchcock influences that show up in like this film specifically, like the Greasy Strangler, where jealousy was something. There was like a love triangle, and every time there was something going on between Tippi Hedren and Suzanne Plachette's character, the birds would attack. You watch the film with that in mind, and I'm wondering if there is the love triangle between Big Braden and Big Ronnie and the young and Janet, that perhaps the grease was meant something else.
I think the grease just feeds him because when he is the Greasy Strangler, he's like, they could use like Night of the Demon fucking like feral grunt scream primitive man like he's, you know what I mean, where it's like I feel like probably throughout this he's just feeding himself grease to keep this weird hide grease up thing at bay.
If
maybe
is it a werewolfy situation?
Yeah, like if he had,
or is
it almost feels like a werewolf.
Like if he had, say, Ozempic, would he go out and kill? Like if the day part of him, the day.
What is this Ozempic thing? Everybody's making jokes about it lately.
Apparently, it is used to treat people who have diabetes, severe diabetes, but it can also curb sugar cravings. So if people can be put on it by their doctor and it could be cleared medicinally, it can help them with cravings. So it could actually just help people with their metabolism and not overindulge.
Okay.
But at the same time, there's questions of how healthy is it if you didn't, Anyway, but so say the Greasy Strangler or Big Ronnie was on this and he didn't feast on this grease while he was in his Jekyll state. But then when he became Mr. Hyde, like, would he still kill? Like, would there be more people alive? Would the ending be different? These questions I need to ask. And I want these answers from you three.
I don't think we have the answers for you. I mean, I don't.
What, man?
What, right?
Sam, you don't. I am laughing throughout this because I'm remembering some of the scenes. It's more your facial expressions.
And I need to ask. I need to say, I'm really funny.
Yeah, we all know that.
Sorry, Sam.
I'll say this: you're
one of my favorite guests.
It's been too long.
Normally, he doesn't make me laugh, but
one of these days,
he tries constantly.
One of these days, we'll get a movie that all of us are like good on.
Can you imagine if we had one that we all like?
Well, if Sam watched it, he probably won't like it.
If Michael likes it, I probably won't like it. And if I like it, he probably won't like it.
He said the sweetest thing to me. Maybe I don't know.
No, let's do like The Thing or something.
Yeah,
that'll get it.
Like Terminator, right?
The Thing's good.
Like, come on.
Like 2 months ago, Sam calls me and he's like, "Dude, I got an 11-foot table. We have to take down 2 flights of stairs. You game?" And I said, "Hell yeah, when?" He's like, "I don't know, 6:45 in the morning down the street from here." I'm like, "I'll meet you there." And we had a blast, and it sucked. And then he looks at me right in the face, and we're done. He's like, "Of all the people I know, you're the only person I know that would wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, help me move an 11-foot long table." And I paid him $3 in paper money, and I left.
From your butt?
And
yes,
then I went
that was stuck up your butt.
Michael's house, to pick him up to go see Late Night with the Devil, and he gave me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies and not 7 DVDs, 6 DVDs, 1 Blu-ray, 2 VHSs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 copies of his books.
That's
I didn't
I
amazing.
have
lose my
0
license.
copies of your books. I
Oh.
should probably buy some.
I didn't
I
want to
have
lose my
digital
license.
copies. I need to get that physical
Did you?
autographed version.
Mm-hmm.
I uploaded.
Well,
I uploaded a new.
Go to one of the cons he's
Yeah,
going
Okay,
to.
can you
Yeah.
upload your autograph to the Kindle?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
I can.
Can I get an FT of your autograph?
An NFT, sure.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Excellent.
Is it that non-fungible token?
Non-fungible.
Yes.
Can't be funged.
It'd
All
be
right.
fun, bro. Hey, you trying to
So they
fudge
do
me?
all this stuff again.
Can't do it.
Janet shows up. They do a disco tour. Janet shows up again because Braden's taking her out to dinner. His dad likes Janet. We see her naked. We're repeating it all again. Hot dog cart scene. We see fake money. Braden and Janet are in his room now. He tells her about the fantasy novel he wants to write. Janet shows him her boobs. He goes to lick them, but she says, "I didn't tell you to do that." That did make me laugh when he like jerked back and kind of.
Hey, look! Did you hear that? Sam laughed.
I'm gonna give it to it when it happens. You know
I'm
what I
gonna
mean?
give it to it.
I don't want to only
I know.
poop on it.
Poo poo.
Poop on. All right. Ronnie gets greasy and kills hot dog cart guy.
Did you skip over the sex?
You
scene?
wanted to say something about that?
Did you skip over the sex scene between Janet and Big Braden?
They haven't had sex yet.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to say something about the hot dog cart kill?
I was sad. I liked that character a lot. I thought I saw him in the movie La La Land. He was also starring that year. There were 2 movies that were going to be contenders.
And Spotlight.
And Spotlight as well. Yeah.
Mm.
And then he directed Lord of the Rings. Okay. So, Ross, I thought you had something to say about that scene. Did you not?
Which one?
The hot dog cart guy getting killed?
No, I did already with the grease and the, yeah.
We said it. That's good.
We already
Okay.
said it.
We hadn't got to that part yet. Okay. This fucking movie. Ronnie tells Paul he's not the Greasy Strangler. Braden
Sure.
and Ronnie meet Oinker and go to the movies at the horror house, which I hope Colby has pulled clips of that to drop into the horror house podcast.
He
Go
better.
listen to that.
He's
Yeah,
a greasy
right?
boy. He's a greaser.
Oh man, that video, that made me laugh more than anything in this fucking movie. So our friend Colby covered himself
Colby
in
Moldy
grease for a
Pudding.
TikTok video. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it.
For
He
the
did not
horror
use
house.
tapioca pudding. He used something much smellier. It sounds
All
like.
sorts of gross stuff. Yeah. He got like peppermint in it that stung his eyes.
Shout out.
So they go to the thing. Oinker steals grease from orphans running the hot dog stand. We get another disco tour. Braden, Janet, and Ronnie are having dinner at home. Ronnie tries to flirt with Janet. Janet and Braden have sex, but Braden isn't sure if he's doing it right.
He is
Did
not.
anyone laugh during the scene at all? I mean, I did.
Yes.
I laughed uncontrollably.
I laughed at his face when she stuck his finger up his butt. Her finger up his
I
butt.
mean, Janet, am I doing it right when he's doing nothing? And for how many times
Is-
he repeats
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is one of the. No, I did laugh.
you.
This is one of
Of
the.
course
worst-
you did. You've
that-
laughed
He
at
loves this
everything.
movie.
in this
Ross loves
I
it.
have.
Ross is a greaser. Ugh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
Greaser over here.
I have to reevaluate some things on this show. All right, continue, Sam.
Yeah. Right.
Then we get the oily grapefruit scene.
Yep,
Janet pees. Ronnie wants to see.
he does. And he
Braden
does.
wants to know if they're exclusive because his dad said he watched her pee. Greasy Strangler kills Winker.
That was a sad scene. I
This-
liked Winker.
Yeah. I did.
It's a
I
sad
did like the
scene.
fact that
I
he
am literally
climaxed.
dying right now. You are killing me.
Also, did you
Yeah.
notice that the gentleman who was eating the potato chips, the Porto gentleman, I think he said something very similar to what Oinker said when when he was dying. He might have said
they
this
all
is
kind of
beautiful.
say things like this.
They have like a end of the life
I
moment.
think I died.
Killed.
Yeah, I did. And then also, like, he wakes up and then I'm assuming he orgasms and then dies. And
Yeah,
then
it's like what's that called? Autoerotic asphyxia,
Erotic
something like that.
yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
not just
erotic-
from getting
it's not
strangled.
auto.
You're trying to time up the
Which it
climax
looked like he
with
did.
getting choked.
I'm curious on what happened to his nose.
I was wondering, and I wanted to make this a continuing joke throughout the podcast, is like how much of
I think that was his real nose, and they took it off.
that actually answered it for me. But I was like, how much of the things like they're trying to play the money off is real? You know, for a moment they were trying to play off like the Greasy Strangler was not Big Ronnie. For like a moment, it looked like it was going to be there until he went through the car wash. I was like, I'll buy it if they're going to pretend this is somebody else, if they're going to play that. And I was like, is Oinker's nose supposed to be real? And then took it off because obviously he had some sort of accident at some point in his life.
Oh, and
I think it was supposed to be real.
Yeah, that part actually grossed me out, where he gets like 2.5 knuckles into his pointer finger into the nose hole, takes it out, and then licks it. Like that one.
That grossed me out as well.
Yeah.
Yep, that one got me.
And the Greasy Strangler didn't like that grease. Because I think he made like he scoffed at it.
This is okay.
Yeah.
Ronnie convinces Braden to let him have alone time with Janet. Ronnie takes her out disco dancing. Ronnie makes up a story about Michael Jackson and tries to kiss Janet, but she won't do it because she loves Braden.
He had good delivery in that story.
Those fucking pants
with the mesh,
the mesh see-through and crotch was horrifying.
Scariest thing in the movie, bro.
And he gets a spotlight dance scene also wearing those pants.
Yeah, that's the next note. And that I didn't love, but at least was like kind of interesting.
Yes.
Sure, I see. Yeah.
It makes it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Janet promises Braden that nothing happened between her and his dad. They get a call that Oinker is dead and go to investigate. Braden vows to expose and kill the Greasy Strangler, and he takes some grease from Oinkers as evidence.
There was a part we skipped over when Big Ronnie's in the mirror and he's saying to Big Braden, his son, and he's like getting dressed to go out with Janet. And he's saying that wants to go to an exclusive place. He wants to get like $15 drinks. And he's like, I know you.
Creamy cocktails.
He goes, I know you, Dad. You know, you're going to hit on her. Was anybody else getting like Faye Dunaway, Mommy Dearest vibes in this? Like that the director was really like the abuse that Big Braden's character went through was just totally unfair. I'm totally sympathizing with him, as everybody was ridiculous and weird, and he said there was no real straight character. I think like the meanness of what Big Ronnie was doing to his son was started to take a character of its own, because he knew that he was the Greasy Strangler, and Big Braden was just realizing that he needed to just kill the Greasy Strangler. And I wonder if he knew that it was his father at this point.
I don't think he knew until the toast.
Braden gives his dad toast with grease on it that he got from Oinkers.
There we go.
He thinks his dad is the Greasy Strangler and calls Janet for phone sex. Paul and Ronnie are going disco dancing and Braden can't come. Braden invites Janet over. They do it. She leaves and finds Ronnie outside. For some reason, she decides now she will hook up with Ronnie, goes in the house with him, and they get to it.
Side note:
Would you like to come inside and do something sensual?
Did you realize that they had 2 different mailboxes for each of them for the same house? Like there was the sweater was in
one of them, and the pants were
and the shoes were in the other mailbox.
No.
I love watching you talk about this and the joy you are getting from it. That really tickles me.
We'll have Ross on my side.
You do.
Thank you, Ross.
Oh, these 2 greasers.
Secret greaser all along.
Secret greaser.
For some reason, she's doing that. Ronnie and Braden are walking again, and Ronnie tells Braden, I'm officially dating Janet. And we get the bullshit artist scene. They call each other bullshit artists throughout the movie, but in this one, they do it for an extended period of time.
It's like a bullshit off.
This is the part of the romantic comedy
artist.
where the fight happens and you wonder how they're going to get back together again. and knowing where the film ends, and as all four of us have seen it, you didn't think that ending was going to come from this traumatic scene right here, this bullshit artist scene. This is the part where you're like, this couple should be together. It's not about the relationship between the guy and the girl and the love interest. It's about the dad and the son.
Sure.
It's about family.
It's about family. And I'm surprised you didn't see that. But continue.
At home, Janet is sitting on Ronnie's lap, feeding him. Braden sulks.
But he made the best pasta.
Best pasta dinner.
This
What
could be
is-
done at any premium restaurant
That's
in the
it.
downtown LA.
on the Sunset Strip. That's
On the
it.
Sunset Strip,
which
yeah.
gives us location, because I was wondering where this was supposed to be at.
Oh, it's very clearly LA. I
you
feel
picked
like
that up immediately? Okay.
all the walking tour
Okay.
stuff, yeah, very much looks LA.
Do you think
to me.
those places that they saw on the tour were actually places where all the disco things happened, or think they were making it up?
I think that everything Ronnie says is made up for the most part.
Maybe.
I think he's a bullshit artist.
Mhm. He's a real nonsense designer.
Asinine architect.
That's it.
Ooh, nice.
Ronnie and Janet bang again. We get Hootie Dootie Disco Cutie. Braden runs in crying. Then he runs crying out of the house.
Just a bunch of nude people chanting that. And then him
Yeah.
running into the street like Shawshank without
Oh,
rain.
that's beautiful.
Screaming at this upward camera shot.
It is Shawshank Without Rain. See,
It
another
happens.
beautiful homage that you pick from this film. Like I caught the birds, Mommy Dearest. A lot of good sentiment.
Next night, Braden tries to win Janet back. Ronnie listens in.
Okay, just go back to the Hootie Tootie Disco Cutie. Because that scene ran so long, legitimately my anxiety was through the roof. I don't know if it was just two nude people just staring at you, screaming at it, but like by minute 18 of that scene, I needed it to be over.
Sam, did you feel any similarity in emotions with the beating scene in the French film Martyrs? And then this scene, Martyrs. And,
Martyrs,
and-
we call it.
We
It's Marty's
get
here.
it, Marty's.
Yeah, did you like the scene where the girl was beaten by her captor and she was in the basement and shaved
For
and,
20 minutes.
Yeah, would you think there was a similarity between that and Hootie Tootie Disco Cutie and or Bullshit Artist?
I mean, in the rinse repeat sense of it, yes. I would say the pacing of Martyrs, other than that chunk, is much better.
Marty's.
Marty's. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right, greasers, where are we at?
All right, Greasy's.
Janet goes in Ronnie's room and finds Grease. Ronnie has left to kill Paul. Braden calls the cops on his dad, and Ronnie shows up in a disguise as Detective Jody. And we get the Detective Jody scene.
This is beautiful
So-
here.
Detective Jody, I had this feeling the entire time was like I wouldn't put it past this film to double up on the actors, so I didn't know the entire time that was going on for the most part if
If it was actually supposed to be a different
supposed to be-
person or not.
person or if it's just like Ronnie in disguise. Obviously it's Ronnie in disguise, but
Braden didn't know
I'm
this.
with
though.
you.
yeah, and I think honestly that level of just absurdity, this whole scene got to me. Actually, specifically his fucking nails. Just how he's got his Nosferatu hands and then scooping up the shit. Like,
And his
it
accent,
was so
his accent was so good.
I hate the nails so much.
It was
Like,
so stupid.
how can we
It
make
was
it
so
weirder?
stupid.
I don't know. Let's give him long
Oh my
fingernails.
God. It was my favorite part of the movie. It was the only scene that didn't rely on talking about turds shit or having genitalia. It was a real, he just became another character. It's like, he comes in.
You know, I think with this movie, you know, JP and Grandma's Boy, how he comes in and the music's playing loud and he's like, yeah, does it scare you? Like, this whole movie gives me that vibe, like, oh, am I too fucking weird for you, man? Like, no, I just don't like techno. Like,
Yes. No, I totally get that.
that's how I feel about this. If, you know, what this
Yeah,
were
I
techno.
just don't like techno. Well,
Yeah.
Sam, you would if you had robot ears.
Exactly. That's my problem. Everybody else has robot ears and I don't. All right.
Not everyone else.
Right. You and me don't.
Thank you.
But, you know, I'm glad everybody else has such a good time with it.
I'm happy for all of you and your robot ears.
Exactly. I'm the one who has the problem. Brayden
That's what we
calls
can
the
call
cops.
like when we don't get a movie, when someone
Oh,
else
sure, yeah. I
appreciates
guess I just
this,
don't
they
have robot
everyone.
ears.
Yeah.
Or yeah,
awesome.
the people that yeah, perfect. We got a new one. It's going in the goo book.
Put it in the goo book.
Before Jody leaves, the reflection of himself in the mirror like takes off glasses and says Jody has to go now. But the one in real life is still wearing the glasses and not talking. And again, I'm like, oh, cool, interesting. Like maybe this third act is really going to spiral into this like
any sort of
surrealism.
or any sort of
and we get a little bit, but I want it.
Any sort of
Go
Travis Bickle. Are you talking to me? Martin Scorsese, Taxi Driver.
Now Ronnie is masturbating after Brayden's bed while Brayden and Janet talk about marriage.
Okay, I will genuinely say I was
Good job,
creeped out.
Sam.
I feel like I was generally creeped out by this scene because like they're talking in the bath or the kitchen by the sink, and then you have that slow pan out, and then it's just that stark nude ass on that.
We already
like,
had
yellow
that scene.
thong. Did that already happen?
Yeah. That's before he goes to kill Paul.
Oh, okay. See, it's all blending. All the grease is kind of mixing.
This is when they're laying in bed and talking about getting married, and Ronnie's laying under the bed, and it seems like he's jerking off under there, and then he pops out. And this is when he finally follows through on his threat of evicting Brayden. And they're like, you know, we don't need you. I can go live with Janet. Don't need Ronnie. Ronnie leaves and comes back greased up. He steals Janet and knocks out Brayden. That part's kind of funny because it's like kind of a light smack. Or I did find that amusing. It's kind of a light smack and he like falls back slowly and is knocked out.
And instead of doing like a cut scene of like him being knocked out,
Worked
it
for me a
just
little
stays on him for like 45 seconds and then he just wakes up.
Probably, yeah. I probably checked out a little bit. When Brayden comes to, he decides that he's going to get greased up himself and goes to the grease bucket and climbs in, talking about how he can be the Greasy Strangler too.
Now, do you think in the story plot, like, why did he do that? Was the smack that made him want to become a Greasy Strangler? Because obviously,
I think
he wanted to become
I
more
don't know.
like,
Why did Janet decide to start sleeping with Ronnie after she just refused him because she loved Brayden?
it's just a classic love triangle in any movie.
Well, I was
usually they
utterly
make it more realistic, but I guess I shouldn't expect that from this movie. Go ahead, Bros.
Right. No, I was utterly confused by this because I was like, okay, so this guy is going to like turn himself into a monster to fight a monster. Right. Like I thought that was like, oh my God, he took
and this is the act 3.
Yeah.
This is the act 3 of the film.
I was waiting for like Mecha Godzilla to fight Godzilla, like two Greasy Stranglers to fight. And then what I got was not that. And I got very just confused. Like the rest of this movie, I was just generally confused.
Up to here, it was on board.
So when you're in a film that's this deep of absurdism, should you allow confusion to become a thing, or should you just?
Oh, I accepted my fate.
Okay,
like you know what I mean. Like I've already bought the ticket. I've taken the ride 90% of the way.
Like I've named 6 or 7 like very deep Academy Award winning films when this movie has paid homage to. In the movie No Country for Old Men, when Tommy Lee Jones gives the speech to the camera at the end, spoiler if anybody hasn't seen that, it was not about the bag. It was not about the bag of money. It was not about the girl escaping. It was not about the hero. It was about realizing that this force is coming and there's something we could do about it. Kind of like in this movie, The Greasy Strangler.
Now Brayden is running around greased up. Brayden finds Ronnie strangling Janet at the movie theater. Brayden takes over. Her eyes pop out and they eat them. Now they both go to the car wash. So they end up killing Janet. We were just talking about, it's not a battle. He comes there, finds her strangling her. Ronnie steps back and gestures like, eh? And he's like, oh yeah, this seems good.
Second eyeball eating scene, right? Because we got hot dog vendor gets his eyeballs eaten.
Yep.
Sheenie out gets her eyeballs eaten. And then
Ricky Prickles is going to get
Ricky Prickles.
Right. Yeah. So they're on the beach before they go to Ricky Prickles' house. And if there's any sort of point to the movie, aside from absurdism, it is about the boy becoming accepted by his dad and his dad accepting the boy, and this loss that for whatever reason the dad is kind of just this maniacal force. He doesn't care about anything but himself. He's completely selfish. He doesn't care about his son, and his son realizing this, even to the point of losing a relationship with someone that he really cared about, and gets his dad's acceptance at this point. And so what I think maybe Big Braden thought at this moment was, we need to kill the guy who had stole mom away. You know, Ricky Prickles, we need to go kill him. And it could have, I'm not saying ended, but having a scene on the beach, it's a serene scene because everything's just grime and filth. And this is the scene that's in daylight where you're on a beach. And it's actually, if you cut that scene.
And if you think about it, it's like the end of Shawshank Redemption when they're on the beach, Sam, and they've finally gone out and experiencing their freedom together.
And what you're talking about is called vision right there. You see the vision of the director.
So they're at the beach. They talk about life. We get the John Travolta story. Now they're both greased up running around the woods. We get all sorts of surrealism. They chase down Ricky Prickles, rip off his ears, eat his eyes. We get that. I don't know what's going on here, but I really like it when them greased up are watching themselves not greased up, tied up, getting
in front
shot,
of a firing squad,
and their heads pop off, and like confetti and soda or something sprays out of it. Yeah.
What's your interpretation of this? This obviously means something.
I don't really know. I didn't try and figure it out.
Brian,
but I enjoy this part.
Brian, you're an in-depth gentleman. What do you feel about this part? What is the interpretation of the confetti?
I think my problem is the rest of the movie is so easily disregarded. I don't want to bother thinking about what this part means.
Ross, what's your opinion?
I mean, it could be the I don't know if you want the death of the civilized man, because at this point they become feral,
right?
And, you know, go to the woods.
They've literally popped their top and have lost
or is it because the old relationship of these two characters didn't work, and they've hit this new level where the relationship can work, and they're saying goodbye to their old self,
the family that greases together,
and that's why it's a celebration.
Right. And often Hollywood misses this with bigger films, but this is about death of the ego, and that's something that I think we've missed. That talking about,
I think it's not
so then they come up all greased up and kind of poke at the camera sticks, and it's the end.
Yeah. So it's not the death of the ego; it's the greasing of the ego.
Greasing a point I wanted to make. We missed.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, well, Big Braden also had something that he had mentioned.
Maybe we shouldn't open it up.
Big Braden said,
"Yeah, careful."
Big Braden said, "I went to stay with Mom and Ricky once. He made me punch him in his six-pack. He didn't feel anything because his muscles were so hard. It was like punching a vacuum-packed bag of roasted sausages. They made me do abdominal crunches with him. I barfed all over his carpet. My barf was real orange and tasted fizzy. Ricky Prickles was so mad he smacked me twice in the face with the flat of his hand." So knowing this in the beginning,
that is like an 8-year-old talking.
Yeah, knowing this in the beginning,
6-year-old.
and Ricky Prickles' death at the end was completely justified, which brought together him and his father, Big Ronnie, and that's why they became primitive men at the end of the movie, and they charged at the camera.
They don't need to be humans anymore.
No, well, they're human. They're primitive.
What a story. All right. You guys have final thoughts?
No.
Ross is a secret greaser. All right.
May I end with a Patton quote for this?
Yeah.
We're not done with the episode
yet.
But
we're just done with talking through the movie. But if you have a Patton quote now, before we go to break.
General Patton, not Mike Patton. General Patton said, "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week." I think that kind of sums it to me, what I've gathered from the Greasy Strangler. That kind of sums it up.
Okay, let's do it. Crematorium of questions. First one. How would we survive? So assuming the Greasy Strangler were in this world, obviously it can't be like something we stumbled into. This is obviously like not a place that exists in real life where this movie is like an alternate LA. But somehow the shuttle bus makes it. Greasy Strangler's coming after us. I'm not sure we can. I mean, as far as we know, the Greasy Strangler is undefeated, right?
Yeah, I was
punching in faces. And
I was just gonna say that no one has actually survived the Greasy Strangler in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we would probably get strangled.
Yeah, I think he has superhuman strength too.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We die.
All right, we die. How would you make the film gooier?
/ does it need to be gooier?
For
I would
for
make
a
it
movie with not much gore, it's pretty gooey.
Yeah.
Here's
Go
how
ahead.
I would make it gooier. I would add gore. I would emphasize, I don't know, I'd have more fun with the kills, I think.
Yes.
Like that goofiness,
See,
gory, funny,
yeah.
gory weirdness, something there, I think.
Totally.
Would
I
have
mean, you could
helped
make the blood
me.
like streamers, like glittery streamers coming out of people. It doesn't even have to be like, I guess that's not more
that
gore.
absurdity that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
I wanted that absurdity in the deaths a lot more. That could have carried it for me.
It could almost be like
made it feel better.
was it Dave Builds a Maze? I don't know if you guys have ever seen
I haven't
that.
watched that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched the trailer.
There's some
almost watched it a couple
There's some
times.
surrealist moments with violence where red yarn is used instead of blood. And that's exactly what I thought of. Where it would be like, they would be hilarious if like disco glitter would shoot out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like something to tie in kind of the disco
cool.
shit, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Michael, do you think it needs to be gooier, or are you happy the way it is? You think it's perfect, right?
Well, I think.
I mean, when speaking of goo, you must reflect on the.
What did Patton
Go
say
ahead.
about
Go ahead. Go ahead. Add.
God damn it.
No, I think in the universe that the movie created, I think it pushed all its own boundaries. And at the end, when it kind of went crazy, where there was like the heads popping off, I think that was its next level that it was going into. I'm glad I didn't go there too far. I liked all the goofiness.
Yeah, I wish the whole third act was that way.
Yeah, I think it was fine the way that it was. There's only so much you could do with it for what the rules that they created in the movie. Like even when the hot dog guy was in the back of his trailer and his head got popped off really easy. Like that there's some funny stuff.
The first kills in the Porto scene.
Yeah, one
of those guys, his face like gets punched in like caves in like a volleyball or something.
Right.
And I really liked that.
Yeah.
All right, villain level 1 through 10, power level and iconography. I mean, is it a 10?
He's Big Ronnie's an unlikable asshole. He says funny stuff and he says gross stuff, but he's an unlikable asshole. So when it comes to Greasy Strangler, he's just a worse version of who he is, just covered in grease and murderous. So he's pretty bad. He's he's undefeated.
Sure. Well, he's undefeated.
Yeah.
Iconography, you think is a 5?
I think
I don't necessarily think it's a 5, but I think it's pretty high, both in the pink and greased up. Like, it's pretty memorable.
A giant nude, big dicked man covered in grease strangling people. I'm not gonna. The iconography's through the roof on that. Even if you don't like it, it's like, ugh.
My mom has no idea who the Greasy Strangler is. My mom knows who.
Well,
Freddy
now we're
Krueger is.
talking about cultural reference.
Oh yeah.
If they made it like a what's the thing
I think
called?
I'd say a 4.5 or something like that. Sure, I can agree.
If they made it a Funko Pop, like it can be a Funko Pop if you could get
That was
anything be a Funko Pop today.
I'm surprised I haven't done Greasy Strangler. I'm surprised they do so much merch over there, those greasy folk. I'm surprised they haven't made their own. All right, so and then what do we think for power level?
It's weird. He's undefeated, but he's still a person. Even in like a cartoon.
I don't think he's not necessarily. Yeah,
he could be killed. I think if someone tried to shoot him with
maybe like a 3
powers.
But he is very strong. Sure.
Yeah,
3 is fine.
Yeah, 3 and like a 4.5. So like a
unless maybe in Greasy 2 still greasing. What do you call it?
Greasy 2 looking at you.
Yeah, Greasy 2 looking at you. Maybe in that one we will see him get shot, and the grease does some cartoonish thing where it like slides the bullet off.
Like a Terminator 2, it just blows out, and then the grease just reassimilates.
It just reforms.
Or the eyeballs that it eats, or they like power pills, like Pac-Man eats.
But see that we don't know that exists yet. So
that's too good for this movie.
We'll save that. So we'll call him like an 8.5. And then time to talk about sequels. Should I have a sequel? What's your sequel? I like what we were just saying.
Greasy 2, Judgment Day. and he just walks around.
If they did another one, I'd want it more surreal and just go crazy.
They're alive and well, and they have spears.
Disco crazy.
And they're getting along.
There you go, Greasy Strangler 2,
Yeah.
Disco Crazy.
What's
scary.
the name of that?
And yeah, sorry, we're all having
What's
different
that
thoughts.
caveman movie where there's no talking in it? That's the next one. It's just
Just
them greased
covered in
up with
grease.
spears in a cave,
Caveman with
No
Ringo
talking.
Starr.
grunting at each other.
Interesting.
All right. Well, that was fun. Would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl?
You know
Sure.
what the
No.
doots?
Yes.
No,
Especially if the vinyl was pink. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be, I'm sure.
it'd be very upsetting if it wasn't.
So is that 2 yeses and 2
No,
no's?
Dude,
this
yeah.
one I wouldn't
Yeah.
get. Just because of how repetitive it is. Like you could have this on a playlist maybe, but I wouldn't go
At
out
the
to-
end, it does start going wild. It's really kind of interesting at the end. Is anything action figure worthy?
Yes.
I'm not a fan of this movie, but yeah, I'll give it to it.
Yeah,
Like
they are action figure worthy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't own them, but for sure.
yeah, definitely a naked Ronnie, a greasy
a,
strangler.
Jody.
a greasy strangler, but just like
You get the set of them in
lard.
the pink tour
Yeah.
outfits.
A Jody Funko Pop
hmm
with the
Yeah.
long nails. Yeah.
What merch prop promo item would you want from the film?
I don't care for anything from the film, but what would be a
I'm
good
okay,
thing?
thank you.
I
Yeah.
want. I know they have beanies. They have greasy beanies. I think Sky wears
They
one.
do.
Yeah.
Sky
Yeah.
isn't who's
Colby got one after he made that greased up video.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was before, I don't know. I think Sky's going on the horror house, actually.
Is he? That's beautiful.
I think so. Yeah. I'm good. Ross, you want anything?
I was thinking about it.
You want the prosthetic penis, the big one or the little
Both
one?
a matching set.
Or both. Yeah, exactly.
You
And
can
then
have them as bookends.
and then as bookends,
Classic.
and then
Classic bookends.
Janet's merkin in the center. So it's the trifecta of fake genitalia.
There you go. As a centerpiece.
Yeah.
It's the big old bush.
Like dried grass.
Like, God.
All right. Midnight showing. What are we throwing at the screen?
About 7 to 8 ropes.
Grease.
Oh my god.
Good one, Ross.
Paper. Yeah, the fake paper money. Hand that out to the people who walk in.
Oh, the fake
Yeah,
paper
fake
money
paper
would be
money
good.
would be
That's
great.
good.
Yeah. And they do
Bullshit.
They do,
Manure.
Actual
they do showings
bullshit.
of this.
Ah.
What was that,
I
Michael?
said they do showings of this. Like, say, pretend they came to Tampa. Would you guys go?
No.
Really?
A grease fest?
Ross? Yeah, Ross. Would you go?
Oh, God.
Yeah, you would.
I
'cause he's a
would.
greaser.
I would,
Yeah.
just for the
He's a
people watching?
greaser.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do that.
Ross and I would go.
Discord's
Yeah,
going to
I'd
be
go.
blowing up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, but it's okay. We'll get into the ratings, but like I feel like my
Yeah, we
rewatch will
will.
be like an actual theater experience. I think past that, I don't know.
Sure. What's the promotional popcorn bucket? Bonus points if it's fuckable.
Oh, just
Hot dog cart.
hot dog cart, or just the Oinker's face with just
Oh, man.
the whole nose.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
That's a good one.
That works for me. I don't have one, I don't think. Michael, you got one?
I still want to keep on drawing attention back to one of my favorite characters in the movie was Officer Jody. So if there was something related to the long fingernails and the German, I don't know if it was a German accent he was trying to do. Ross, you're good at the German accent. Was that a German accent
I don't know what.
Had
I don't know.
German accent in a while.
or was it Italian?
I had to legally retire my German accent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I think that makes it more obtuse where it's just like I don't know what he was going for. It seemed almost like European and then Eastern European and
Like,
then Southern.
it's not a real
Yeah.
accent.
Do you think he walked on the set and he goes, and like, do you want me to talk like this? And he's like, that'll work.
That's
And, like,
perfect.
that was
Yeah,
it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You sounded a little like a vampire, Michael.
I did.
I wonder where you've been hanging out.
It's
In all
vampires.
those hot vampire clubs, probably.
Probably. Blade.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the ratings. Let's find out where we actually stack up on this thing.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all, cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
On this show, we use a rating scale of 0 to 5 greasy fingers. Each greasy finger represents a different quality about a movie. You can chop off half a greasy finger, nose it, greasy fingers, a whole greasy finger, however you want to do it. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about a movie. It does not matter if the movie is objectively good or bad. All right. I'm going to start us off.
Do it, please.
How about that?
Do
I
it.
love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Engaging is going to be 0.5.
Mm-hmm.
Watched it twice and I just, again, it's just not my flavor. It's not my style. So 0.5. Sticky's actually going to be a 1. And I don't know if that's from the movie itself. I feel like if I just watched it on my own and wasn't around a whole bunch of people who loved it, I'd end up forgetting mostly about it. But because it is just in my circles, in my cultural oeuvre, I'm going to give it a full 1.
Nice.
For Sticky. And part of that is because T-shirtable is a no, I would never get a shirt for this. Cockles is a no, it doesn't do anything for my cockles. And Rewatchable is a no, it doesn't do anything there. Zeros across the board. Putting that at a 1.5. Which feels right. I mean, feels a little strong in the bad area. I guess I should say this. I was dreading watching this. I thought I was going to hate it like pulling teeth. And it wasn't. There were moments I enjoyed. I do dislike it, but it wasn't like the horrible experience I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, who knows? Maybe over time, as these jokes, I'm sure, do not die and continue, it might turn me around a little bit, or it'll push me further the other way. We'll see.
We'll see. We shall. All right, Sam.
Brian, I want Brian to go because I want to save Ross for last among us.
The greasers? You want to put the greasers last?
Yeah, the secret greaser.
All right, cool. Engaging, I'll probably give it a 0.5 as well. I agree with you because it's like I'll be engaged for the first part of what's going on and then, kind of like fall off after the joke continues for a little bit and then, pop back in. Sticky, I'm not going to give it the full 1. I think I will give it a 0.75. I think that feels good. Like you said, it is a big part of it is because how many people it's just we're surrounded by it. It seems like so it's sticky because of that. And like I said, I don't think the movie itself would have done that for me. So I don't know. 0.75 feels right. Because then again, I'm going to kind of probably echo you here. T-shirtable 0, cockle 0, rewatchable 0 as well. So that just puts me 1.25, which is slightly below yours. Feels low, which I mean, there's a lot of like again, not for me. It's for a lot of people that do enjoy it a lot. And awesome, man. What we say? It's for your robot ears. I don't have the robot ears for this one.
Yeah, we don't have the robot ears for this one.
There we go.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Now Ross.
All right.
Greaser.
Greasy
Greaser.
The Greasy Yeti.
Oh, these ratings. These ratings are greasy enough.
That's the sequel I want to see.
Greasy Yeti. All right, so engaging. Yeah, I'm gonna echo what you guys are saying. Engaging is gonna get a 0.5 because as much as I like the level of absurdist that's going on, the scenes are just like way too long. In the format of the movie, it's like a full length feature of this is so different than if I was watching this in shorter format. So same thing, like I would initially be interested in some of the bits, but then when the bits ran too long because of like just the awkwardness, my anxiety I'd be like, okay, could we just fuck it? Like the actual movie forced me to disengage from it.
Sure.
Sticky.
That was possession for me.
Sticky is gonna get. Honestly, Sticky is going to get the full 1. I think whether I like it or not, I think a bunch of imagery and lines are going to be burned into my brain. So, like, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you say the same thing 35 times in a 10-minute take. You know what I mean? So it's like, whether I like it or not, it's definitely ingrained Sticky. T-shirtable. T-shirtable is... I think it's going to get like a 0.25 because like it would have to be under it'd have to be one hell of a shirt, and it would also have to be like a gift. Like, I'm not getting it for myself, but like it would have to.
But if you were given a really cool one, you would wear
For
it.
like, I'd wear it like for a cycle or two. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be an everyday hitter. It would be one of those like I'd occasionally wear this on laundry day, because it would be like a solid pink shirt or a solid white shirt with some weird, like, you know what I mean? Cockles is gonna get.
It's got some cockles.
It does. No, it totally does. I'm in between like a 0.25 and a 0.5. I think I'm gonna go on the lower. Well, no, fuck it. I'll just do 0.5. I feel like 0.5 is a lot more accurate depiction.
It's not a secret anymore.
Well,
Ross.
no, I think it's because it's I like crude humor, and I also like absurdist humor. So like when the comedy happens, I like the comedy that's in this movie, but it's just these Sahara desert long sections in between that are just so fucking awkward for me that it doesn't like eviscerate them. You know what I mean? Like, again, I still like that style of humor, but this is just so drawn out that I feel like it doesn't get the whole thing.
Gives you too much anxiety.
Yeah, totally. Which is so funny that a movie that's not really supposed to like it be fear inducing is like fucking
barely a scary movie. Yeah,
dude. And because of just social awkwardness. And then rewatchable is gonna get a 0.25. I think that like if I saw it in same thing. If Greasy Strangler was in a theater, I'd probably go to a theater to watch this just to say I did it. You know what I mean? Because also just to see the crowd base there, the people watching at a Greasy Strangler showing would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I probably would not go, but like Michael, if you were going and you were like, "Hey, I'm going, like, come with me," I would do that. But there's no way I would just go on my own.
Well, you probably would you be mad if you went?
No.
Okay.
I think if anything, it might make me like see what people see in it more if I'm in a crowd full of people that are really like it.
Yes. No, totally. So yeah, I would say 0.25. It's not going to be because like I think I watched it when it originally came out and I was like, and then I have not seen it until we had to cover it for the podcast, and it would not be on my radar to like show people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel the only time that this might even become a recommendation is if I got real nostalgic and decided to watch like Tim and Eric or Tom Goes to the Mayor or something like that in like a binge fest. You know what I mean? Like you end the night with Greasy Strangler after a day like that, you know?
Are you all fans of Napoleon?
So that gives
Dynamite?
you 2 points.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say that gives you a 2.5 out of 5, Ross, which is funny. You said you were indifferent and it worked out right down the middle.
Straight up.
Yeah, I loved Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay, I just want to know if you guys did like the awkward humor. And
Gentlemen Broncos, Rips.
Brilliant. That was your recommendation as
Nacho
well.
Libre. Those folks make good movies. Brian, so that was like the summer after senior year of high school, going into our freshman year of college, that Napoleon Dynamite came out. And I think, Michael, you just started retirement, but we were seeing this movie and MySpace was still like relatively new.
Yeah.
And Brian made a Napoleon Dynamite like MySpace page.
Yeah,
and it was such a weird movie. Like people weren't even sure that, like, some people thought he was real. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Brian would like accept like, I don't know, 200 friend requests a day.
Yeah, it was bumping. It was fun.
It was.
A lot of people expecting a sequel. I told a lot of people a sequel was coming.
That's amazing.
It's your turn.
Feed me the
engaging.
Engaging. Yes. No, my max to go is 1. Is that what it is? Point.
Correct.
Definitely 1. I loved it. I laughed really hard. I enjoyed the universe, the world, the style of humor. Crass is not my first thing I go for, but I didn't mind some of the long takes. They were kind of like at the end of the one with the movie with Mia Goth. I think it was X, maybe it was. No, it was Pearl, where she stares into the camera, you know, at the very end credits.
Yeah.
Like you say to yourself,
another favorite.
you say to yourself, how long is this going to go? And then when you say that, usually most people's patience has already been gone. And then I'm like, is it going to go further? And I'm laughing. I'm kind of like, oh my God, how far is this going to go? And then it just keeps on going.
It's like that long pull-out shot in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah. But I laughed at everything. I laughed at what the director's trying to do. Once again, I'm not into talking.
You got robot ears. That's cool.
Yeah, but I'm not into.
Also got one.
the crassness, like the turd shit, genitalia thing is not it's not my first thing for humor. It's just the universe and the style.
I mean, my humor is full of that stuff, but it's, there are jokes built around it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely one for me. Definitely one. One out of one. Yeah, it gets a one.
All right, one. Sticky. How memorable is it? How much do you think about it?
I quote it a lot, and I work with people who love it. So yes, one.
All right.
T-shirtable.
In a second. I'd wear the hat, the shirt. Definitely. Yeah. Yes. I'd have a poster on my wall. Yes.
Cockles. How does it make you feel?
Cockles. I was just fed into
like the cockles of your heart.
Oh, my heart. There's parts that made me laugh really hard, and I was excited we were talking about it. I was excited to watch it again. It was great. One. I give it a one. The my only negative thing is I hate how mean Big Ronnie is to Big Braden. So in the way they made up, it's cool. In the absurd way that they made up.
Me too. I did feel bad for Braden a couple times.
I cared about his character.
It's just like
his dad was an asshole, and he had to become a monster. He had to become a monster to befriend his monster dad. Yeah,
stealing his girlfriend and banging her. And I was mad at Janet too. I hated all that.
But so far I'm at 4. I'm at 4 out of 4.
Yeah, and watchability.
I've seen it multiple times. I can't wait to rewatch it again and send you memes and torment the shit out of you with it. Yeah. Yes. So it's 5. I think it's 5.
Well, you do love repeating jokes that aren't funny, so it makes sense that you love this movie.
That's my forte. Because that's what an insane person does. They just keep on pushing that envelope,
All right. What was I saying? So that gives you a 5 out of 5. Is that what you thought you would have scored?
Aside from noting that I did not like how Big Ronnie was mean to Big Braden. That's just something I don't personally like about the story, but I accept it as what the movie is.
Right. So, it needs to have some sort of emotional tie at some point.
Like I'm not sure if it was Ross or Brian had said that. It'd be cool if he would have had like a Mecha Godzilla where they would have fought. And if
sounds like Ross.
But that made me think, that's how much I cared about Big Braden's character, about his father being an asshole, and me never having a father my entire life. I'm kind of like, I'm totally on Big Braden's side. His dad's an asshole, but they bonded by killing Ricky Prickles, who also deserved it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's jump to the Discord and see what the club has to say.
No ratings.
We have mentioned the club.
No, I said they aren't allowed to input on this one. We get it. It's a 10. It's a 5. It's all.
Hold on.
Scotty, I think Scotty gave a real one.
They all did.
Not a real one. Excuse me. Yeah.
So one Scotty just watched this for the first time. Yeah. He started it when I was starting my first watch. I ended up stopping watching it, and he kept watching it because he liked it. So Scotty, we have. I could turn this into Greasy Strangler quotes like the others, but I'll rate it seriously. So I think that's what Brian meant.
That's what I'm referring to.
Engaging. 1. I was surprisingly engaged the entire time. Every time I thought my attention might wander, something happened to keep me laughing. Sticky. 1. Come on. I feel like even if you dislike this movie, there's no way you'll forget all the different scenes. They're now ingrained in my memory as well. T-shirtable. 1. I don't know if I'd wear it in public if it showed certain things, but there's no doubt this movie is T-shirtable. Porto, Hootie Tootie, Disco Cutie, bullshit artist. There's so many things you can put on shirts. It's because the whole thing is catchphrases. Cockles. I added the catchphrase thing. Sorry. Cockles. 0.5. I just saw it last week. I think this will definitely be one for the cockles, but I won't know for a while. Rewatchable. 0.5. I gotta be fully honest here. I really enjoyed watching this. It made me laugh in a very Tim and Eric way throughout the entire movie, but I honestly don't think I'll be sitting down to rewatch it very often unless I'm showing it to someone else to see their reaction. 4 fingers wearing a pink sweater and shorts. I can't wait to see what popcorn bucket ideas you Chuddles come up with. Sorry to disappoint you, Scotty. Evan, our witchy brethren, engaging 1 bag of rigid Porto chips, sticky 1 greasy Christmas goose, t-shirtable 1. Hell, I'd wear the pink outfits Braden and Ronnie are in. Cockles 1. Dip into Winker's snout. Rewatchable 1. You can end all inquiries here. Gives it a 5 out of 5 exploding heads with confetti.
I like that
At
guy.
the midnight showing, I'll throw flaccid greasy bacon strips at the screen.
Who is that guy? Is that one of your Patreons?
Evan, our witchy brethren. Yeah, it is.
I like you, Evan. Thank you.
Shout out to Evan. All right. T-Boo, Nightclub Podcast, listen to Nightclub. Engaging 1 fully dunked dog. Sticky 1 hootie tootie disco cutie. T-shirtable 1 night out at the disco with Big Ronnie. Cockles 1 greasy trip to the car wash. Rewatchable 1 luxuriously creamy pussy-ass daiquiri. 5 out of 5 bullshit artists. I buy the vinyl. I'm throwing greased meats for the midnight show. Pearl is getting strangled until her guts implode. And it's a 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Evan gave his wife's rating, Tiff's rating. Engaging 1. This movie is fucked, but I can't take my eyes away. Sticky 0.5. Not much sticks with me other than what joke within the nightclub. T-shirtable 0.75, just being nice. Cockles is a 0.75. Rewatch is a 1. So that didn't give me the total, but I'll get it real quick. 2, 3.5, 4 out of 5. Colby said 12 out of 10. I'm going to be Ronnie for Halloween this year.
Nice.
Trev said all 5 fingers in the grave. Weird said, I like this movie way more than I thought I would. I would give it 4 out of 5 fingers. It's something I'd watch more often, if not for laughing myself into an asthma attack. And then we'll end with Ricky, who's the one who really made this my entire internet existence. Nightclub Podcast, listen to Nightclub. Engaging 1, I'm fully engaged. The more I watch it, the more I love the little things I miss, like how Michael Jackson punched someone so hard all their hair fell out. That line did make me laugh too, actually. Sticky 1, there's nothing stickier than old grease and a pack of Russian cigarettes. T-shirtable 1, I'd love a shirt with extra grease on it. Cockles 1, no matter what kind of bad mood I'm in, if I put this on, I will laugh out loud the whole time and feel better. My dog is fully dunked. Rewatchable 1, I rewatch this a few times a year at this point, and it hasn't gotten old yet. It's a feel-good movie for me because I'm a hootie-tootie disco cutie. I want Oinker shoes for my prop, and I'm throwing fake money from my butt at the midnight showing. No sequel needed because this film is perfect and tells a perfectly coherent and complete story of love and betrayal and redemption. This is objectively the best film of the 21st century. Thank you, Ricky.
Wow.
And that's a 5 out of 5. So that covers everything the club has to say. Pretty much what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on keeping on, club. We love you. I hope you didn't hate this listening to us not love it so much. At least we found out Ross is a secret greaser, and Michael obviously compares it to the great works of art in history, so it worked out.
I didn't hear the last of what you said there, Sam. What was that?
So we're moving on. How does this movie compare to others in the Goo Book? I said it was good to have you here to compare it.
It is a 1.8. So that sits it right along with another Murder Party. Sits at 1.8.
Hey.
Right below it, our very first movie, Cheap Thrills, at a 1.7. And Curtains at a 1.5. Pizza at a 1.4. Right above it at 2.0, you got things like Baskin, The Whore. No, Baskin's only there because we don't have Ross's score.
You guys gave Baskin a low rating?
No, it's mid to higher. It's just because Ross's score isn't
Ross's score isn't in there yet. So it's averaging that as a...
Oh, here we go. Marty's is a 2. So Marty's got a higher score than this.
Marty's is a 2. Yeah. Marty did get a higher score than this. How about that?
Speak No Evil is a 2.2. Higher score than this.
Is that a newer movie?
Yeah, I love it. You should watch it, actually. Maybe it'll be something we'll have common ground on. They hate it. So how about that?
Interesting.
So there you go.
Did you guys know that Elijah Wood had helped produce this movie? You didn't know that?
No.
Awesome.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's his production company or not, but I know he makes a lot of like weird movies.
Well, he liked
he did
Swiss Army Man, and he's a producer.
And Maniac.
Yeah, and he's producer on Yellow Jackets, which is fantastic. If you guys haven't watched Yellow Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I like Yellow Jackets. It is good.
All right, Sammy.
Well, with all that said and done, it's time to wrap it on up because we did the whole thing. Does it for the Chuddle the Pod Movie Club meeting for tonight. Follow Chuddle the Pod on Instagram and Slasher and Threads and Facebook to stay up to date with the podcast. But Instagram and Threads if you want to see the most active stuff. Follow at Ross Purvis on Instagram. See his art, see his tattoos, spend money on those things. I highly implore you to do it. He's in Orlando, but you can fly from anywhere, baby. You can follow me, Chuddle the Sam, and Chuddle the Brian with a Y on Letterboxd if you have any interest in seeing what we're watching on there. Follow Michael on there too. What are you on there?
I think I'm Alucarda, I think that's one of my favorite films. You probably wouldn't like it because you don't like any good movies. No, let me see. I want to, you know what? I'm having so much fun on Letterboxd on your recommendation. I love it there. And if reading, actually, as Brian, I saw today you had posted something. You didn't post your Greasy Strangler rating yet. I think you were waiting for this to drop.
That's what I do for movies we're covering. I don't know if Brian does that too. I'll just
I think I am
watch it and then change it later.
I'm number one Alucarda, number one on Letterboxd, and I have a blast on there. And it's cool being on there. It's better than IMDb. You get to meet people who like the same films as you and see other crazy shit that they're into. So jump in our Discord to participate in the show, and we just have a lot of fun in there. And if you like the Greasy Strangler, there will be a bunch of people in there that like it too.
That's very true.
Thomas Michael Thomas, before we let you go, where do you want people to follow you? Where can they buy your books? You're going to a bunch of cons, right?
Yeah, you could get all that information at www.thomasmichaelthomas.com. I have July off. I have 2 conventions coming up in August, both here and in Tampa and Sarasota. I am going to be at Spookalla. That's the big show of the year. Spookalla is in Tampa, October, I believe, 6th and 7th, maybe 5th, 6th, and 7th. Things are going well. I have 4 more shows this year, and this is my 3rd novel, Dark Witchery Behind Dead Willows, is out now. You can get that on Amazon. That just peaked number 2 of occult horror this past week, and I'm very excited about that. Thank you to all my readers and downloaders. Appreciate that.
Congratulations, buddy. Now you're gonna get that shuttle bump. There will probably be like 10 more.
Thank you. No, I didn't say that. You guys I respect you guys are doing. You guys are doing great.
Yeah, I kid. I play. Yeah, it'll be way more than that. You're gonna crash Amazon's website, actually.
That's fine, and what you guys are doing.
That's fine.
No. Is more importantly is you guys are very passionate about what you do, and obviously it shows that you guys have been friends for a long time because you get to laugh about goofy shit, and whether you like a film or not, you're having fun doing it, and I appreciate it a lot.
Until next time, avoid the time loop.